Welcome to the Red Pill Awareness Needed Conversation for Men podcast. I am one of your hosts, Herb. I am here with the other host of my brother,
Jason.
Happy New Year to everybody. Welcome to 2021, though it still seems like we're still in 2020, all the shit that's going on. So we're here with a new show. Just some quick things we want to mention. Our goal for 2021 is to start doing some videos soon. So that's coming. We're working it out. We're trying to figure out how we're going to do it. So the goal is to try and do at least one in February. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we're definitely working on video. We definitely want to expand the channel as best as we can. So for those that are supporting us, they're still listening and still here, putting up with our shenanigans and craziness. Thank you very much. We greatly appreciate it. Stay with us. We're trying to grow it, do the best that we can. And yeah, just like, share, subscribe. As I said before, we're not only on YouTube, but we're on most podcasting outlets because we're primarily an audio podcast for now. We do also have a Facebook group under the name of the podcast. So I tend to try and post upcoming notes and stuff for the episode. Also, if you have some questions, want to reach out to us, you want us to cover a particular video or topic on the show, you can use the Facebook group and post something in there too. So we're slowly growing the channel, slowly doing what we gotta do. So, anything you want to add, Jay?
No, just keep supporting us, guys. It's going to get bigger.
Yeah, definitely. So with that being said, today's show, the first topic of 2021 is monogamy and marriage. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because during the course over the holiday, I ran across a video from a married couple by the name of Deval and Kay. I believe they have a YouTube channel. I think they got a couple of YouTube channels. But I'll put the link for the description. I'll put the link in the description for the videos that we're going to go over. We're actually going to go over two clips pertaining to monogamy and marriage where they discuss some things that kind of happen in a marriage. I think this happens also when you're not in a marriage, but also in a marriage where, you kind of discuss, sex with your partner and monogamy and how women mindset tends to shift sometimes depending on the marriage when it comes to that. Now, just real quick, I have never been married. Jay has. So, Jay probably
You make it sound like I've been shot before. I've never been shot.
No.
Jay has.
No. I mean, because it's kind of funny. Because I know my input is kind of limited on it. So we're pretty much for this episode, we're going to go more on your input than mine. I do have my thoughts and my opinions on it. So, but we're probably more so going to lean on your input and your reaction to the clips that we're going to play more so than mine. So
no pressure.
Yeah. So you'll be all right. But yeah, so I'm going to play this. There's two clips. They're about 8 minutes each. And we're going to do the usual format that we follow, which is we're going to listen. And if we feel the need to speak in between, we will. And without further ado, let's play this bad boy, shall we?
I am not allowed, based on our marriage laws and the contract we signed with each other,
right,
to have sex with anybody else.
Right.
So these urges that come, I have to share them with the one person I decide to spend the rest of my life with.
Right.
So that brings me back to my soundbite.
Okay.
Right. I don't understand, and this is what we can discuss as a woman, because I don't want to say it's a man versus woman thing, but a lot of women do complain, oh, my husband's always on me. Why is he always on me? If sex is going to be a chore for you that you don't really want to do, why do women constantly push monogamy on men? If you know that you don't want to have to deal with him all the time just wanting you, why do you push monogamy on men?
Well, who's to say I pushed anything on anybody?
Well, we know that you...
Okay, hold on. Let's stop right there.
And
go ahead, Jay. Go.
To be honest, folks, we almost did this show yesterday.
Yeah,
and I didn't think I would have the same.
I knew you would.
I didn't think I would cringe the same. It's like, and fellas, back me up. I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying that all women do this, but when we're having a general conversation, and the conversation is not an attack on you, why do the defenses come up? She's immediately being defensive, and he hasn't even asked her directly a question. And that
Oh, he did. I think she didn't like the question, personally.
well, obviously
Yeah,
she liked the question because she got defensive, and so
Yeah.
so you're already telling me that this very topic is going to be a problem. You get what I'm saying?
Mind you, folks, they're married.
Yeah.
Just a reminder, they're married.
She's a very attractive woman, but good luck, brother.
She's married. I mean, my question, the question that he raised is the reason why I actually wanted to make a show of this, which is because I find it very interesting because what tends to happen is when we date women or we get into relationships with them, or even sometimes even just sexual situations. You know, a lot of times they'll try and dictate to us what we should or shouldn't do. But then what tends to happen is it's almost like they don't really understand or fully grasp what that entails, and then they get tired of it. Because what's going to happen is also there's another video I want to play after the two clips of this couple, where there's another woman that kind of goes on a little, hood booger rant about this, but she's very valid in her point.
Every time you say hood burger,
Hey, listen, shout out to me, the MTR, man. I stole that from him. I ain't even gonna front act like it's mine. I stole that straight from him. But anywho, I think it's very interesting because not only in marriage, but I think in dating. So it's like so an example I'll give is I was dealing with a woman and me and her was, kind of talking or whatever. And this is somebody I dealt with off and on for many years. And one of the last times we kind of dealt with each other, she was on some mess like, well, if we just going to have a sexual relationship or, what the kids call it, entanglement.
I'm not using that.
I know, I just said that just to...
I'm not using it. We're gonna put that in the same pile of stupid slang that I'm not picking up.
No, I was just fucking with you. I just wanted to say.
Oh, you can't. I just said I am not going to use that. You're in an entanglement.
But
you don't sit stupid ass down.
Yeah, I think it's done. We're over it.
But a little event, y'all gotta. We're gonna use this forever. Okay.
Right? No, but we had a sexual understanding, and basically what she said was, well, listen, if you and I are going to fuck, we going to deal with each other exclusively. Just me and you, and that's it. And if you can't deal with that, then I'm not going to bang with you. Okay, fine. But herein lies the problem. So I asked her, well, what's your availability? What you mean was my availability? And I said, well, you want us to be exclusive or whatever. Are you going to be available when I want to see you? And it turned into, oh, well, I got my kids and that and third, blah, blah. So I said, well, how often do you think you're going to be available? And she was like, maybe, once every other week or something like that. I said, so let me get this straight. You want me to be exclusive to you, though you're basically telling me we might have sex twice a month. We might, depending on your availability.
What if my sexual appetite is bigger than that? I'm just saying.
Right. I mean,
I'm not trying to be like the Ropers off the old 1970 show, getting it in twice a month.
Yeah.
No.
And this isn't a situation, so I can imagine sometimes how a marriage might turn into. Because I went through a similar situation when I lived with someone where before we lived together, everything was fine. Then when we was in the same household, seeing each other every day, shit kind of declined. You know what I mean? So. It's an interesting thing because there are even some women that say to you, well, I'm celibate, so if you want to deal with me, you need to accept the fact that I'm not going to have sex with you. Then they get married, and in the beginning, everything's fine, everything's great. But then that slowdown comes, or, life happens, whatever the case the fuck may be. And, the man's drive might not change, but the woman's drive does change. So I think it's an interesting thing. And I think their conversation really kind of was interesting as well. I want to play some more, and we'll respond to some more because I think her response is very interesting.
He pushed monogamy on me.
I pushed monogamy. I forced you to get married to me?
Time out.
Hear that defense.
I didn't say you forced me to get married, but did you not say to me that you wanted to be engaged and you wanted to be married before you lived with me? You didn't say that?
I want $1 billion. That don't mean I'm going to get it. I can want.
All right, so I'm going to say
you are deflecting.
Right.
See, as a person that likes to conversate with people, that likes to resolve issues, when I'm asking you a direct question, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, it kind of annoys me when you're deflecting, when you just don't want to answer the question because you feel like it's going to make you look because of the optics.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because I'm sure this conversation would go differently if the cameras were not present. And that's the part that people leave out sometimes. If the cameras weren't there, or if your best girlfriend wasn't there, or if your auntie and your mom wasn't in the room, you're not going to answer the same most of the time. Same when you ask somebody something very, very private on a Facebook post. They're not going to answer the same way with just me and you at the bar.
Okay, so here's what I think. I think, and generally speaking, you're correct. I think in this particular question that he asked, I think most women would answer the same way she would have, because of the fact that a lot of times they don't view the things that they say and do as pressure. They view it as a choice. And technically speaking, it is.
Right.
However, here's the caveat.
But it's a choice with pressure.
Right. Hold on. I was almost get there.
Yeah.
Here's the caveat to that. The caveat to that is that if that person wants to be with you, that person wants to possibly marry you or build a relationship with you, they have to accept your terms of agreement. That's kind of the caveat. So it's like either I'm not going to deal with this at all, or I'm going to set the terms of agreement, even though those terms of agreement might not necessarily be beneficial to me. So yeah, on the technical side, no, a woman is not saying, pressuring you, holding a gun to your head and telling you that you need to marry me. However, when you don't let things naturally happen and you just start throwing up demands and timetables as to, okay, listen, I'm not trying to shack up nobody, so you got X amount of time to marry me or else. I mean, for most men, that's pressure. Because
that's that or else part.
Right, because most men don't operate in a timeline when it comes to those type of things. It's either I'm going to be with you because either I just want to fuck you, or I want to be with you because I can see myself building a life with you. And once they get to that point, then they make that decision. But what tends to happen is because a woman wants to know, once they chose that guy, that they're going to get the result they want, then it starts to turn into you're on the clock, basically. And they don't feel as though that's pressure because at the end of the day, they want the end result.
There is no pressure on her.
Right.
Well, let me rephrase that. There may be pressure on her because she's probably getting heat from her mom or whoever in her family that's already married, already has children. So there's pressure. But it's not the same as the ultimatum that you're dropping on him.
Right.
And you're perfectly right. He has the right to stay or leave. But if he wants to continue seeing you and he loves you, he has to put whatever reservation he has about marriage aside because if he wants to stay, he has to marry you.
Right.
Same thing we were saying when we were leaving. Like, if I want to go to London, I can't drive. So I either got to fly or take a boat.
Oh, right.
Those are my choices because I can't drive.
Right.
So although no one's making me go to London, these are the choices.
Now, to address the other thing real quick, which is the deflecting. Yeah, that was straight up deflecting because of the fact that she didn't want to appear to look as though she did that, even though she did.
Right.
And a lot of times it really turns into the optics of things. So in that regard, yeah, like she was really deflecting, and it's kind of crazy because of the fact, again, it seems as though sometimes in these positions women don't understand the position they put men in because they want to be able to control the situation, which is they want to control marriage. But as we said many times before, women are the gatekeeper of sex. Men are the gatekeeper of marriage. Relationships and marriage. Because because at the end of the day, a man has to choose that woman and put a ring on her and choose to take on that responsibility of being her husband, being her provider, whatever role she feels as though that man's supposed to fill. So we control that, and I think
it's amazing to me when ultimatums like that are placed on us. Women are shocked that we feel some kind of way about it. Well, if you were a real man, here we go. Here we go. Now my manhood's in question. My manhood wasn't in question 30 seconds ago when you've been with me 2.5 years. When I've been with you through your successes, your failures, your heartaches, and all that stuff. But now, because I have reservations about marrying you, which may be realistic, now my manhood's in question. Very interesting. Maybe I don't want to marry you because even though I love you, you have a hard time letting things go. And the thought of living with someone forever that has a hard time with letting things go is scary as shit. Mm-hmm. Because when we don't live together, I go to my apartment, you go to your apartment or house or whatever.
Yep.
And then we go to our neutral corners, we cool off, we have a conversation, and then we come back. But when you in the same house, you ain't got nowhere to go.
Right. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to play the video again, the audio again. My question to anyone that opposes this is, let's just say the roles were reversed. Let's just say my wife decided that she only wanted to have sex with me once a week. Okay. And I said to her straight up, I said, listen, for the last 3 months, we only had sex once a week. I can't be cool with that. So either you want to ramp that shit up a little bit, or I'm going to cheat on you. That wouldn't a woman classify that as pressure?
They fitting to drag you.
Wouldn't that be considered pressure?
To drag you because women, for the most part, tend to be protected by having the right to control the time of day and the amount.
Gatekeeper of sex. Gatekeeper is key,
right.
as I said.
But if a man does that, oh, you must be messing with somebody else. Why don't you want to do it with me?
Yep.
Or if I want you more, well, is that all you see me as? See, why is that? Why is that?
Because technically it's a choice. You can choose to continue to do what you're doing, knowing that your husband is going to cheat, or you can decide not to have sex with him more. But the fact of the matter is the fact that he came to you with those choices. Yes, they're choices, but at the same time, those choices are pressure on you to do something that clearly you don't want to do.
Yep.
Or you're not ready to do at that time for whatever reason. So you can't sit there and say one thing, but it doesn't apply to other situations. So again, I'm just using that as an example, but I know there's some women that will sit there and say, well, no, that's not right because that's a woman's body and she could choose to have sex with her husband when she wants to and blah, 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 and he has to accept it. And if he don't, that's rape and blah, 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 blah.
If the roles are reversed,
that's usually how the
does the man not have the same rights and privileges over his own body? Does the man have the same rights of consent in a sexual conversation? By law, he does. Yeah. You may not think he does because he's a man and his life really doesn't mean that much to you. But by law, consent covers both parties. Yeah. If he says no and you proceed, it's rape, even if he's a man. Even if it makes you chuckle because you're an asshole. I'm just saying, consent is consent is consent.
Yeah, but typically it doesn't go both ways. So
I know.
You know, I mean, I think this is interesting. I think it's very interesting. Hit and play.
Thing, but not.
You right now. Dodging the question.
Nobody pressed you to do it. Yes, is that something I wanted? Yes, it was. But
you didn't press me. Are you gonna lie now
so
to the people because we talking about sex? You're gonna lie now to the people.
DeVal, knowing.
Kadeen, you didn't want monogamy?
Of course I did.
So then why are you avoiding the question?
That's not avoiding the question. I'm saying, does that mean because I want it and I requested that you were gonna deliver it? Like nobody pressed you for that.
Time out. You just said you wanted it and requested it. Do you not hear yourself?
I can make a request. Is the request going to be granted?
That's
up to you, bro.
Sis, come on now. Come on. So you telling me in the lifetime of your relationship, your dynamic, God damn it, you're fucking entanglement, whatever the fuck you want to call it. You telling me after a certain amount of time, you never continuously mention marriage and that this is a requirement to go forth. Man. You never said that. Obviously you did because the brother's brain is about to explode because he cannot believe that you're trying to act like you never said that. Man, if that's your stand and you're this strong black woman that y'all all claim to be, stand on the shit that you say. That is the modern day man's main issue with a lot of women now. Stop changing up. If you say it, own that shit.
Listen,
listen, I never said it. We were there when you said it. If he loves you, back me up, he's listening to you, which means his brain is constantly recording shit to the hard drive. We're listening to you. We're trying to find out the shit you don't like, you do like. We're listening. And the shit you bitch about, we definitely remember. Because we're trying not to do that because we want to watch the game.
If we care. If we care.
If we give a shit.
If we care. Yeah.
If we give a shit.
Some guys they're like, man, fuck you. I ain't worried about
it. But I'm just saying, a man like me, if I'm with you for a long period of time, I'm recording your peeves, your passions, your pleasures, all that shit.
Notes.
I'm taking notes. Oh, doesn't like when I do that? Not doing that shit again because I want to watch the goddamn game this weekend. You know what I'm saying?
I'm trying to watch the game while I want some more ass.
Right.
So I'm going to put it like so.
Right.
I mean,
or I want her to make that dish that I like. It's a give and take thing.
Right.
In a relationship, if you care.
And I think
so for her to act like she never said that, obviously you did because the man's not making this up.
See, most women do. I mean, they most like one of the reasons why I'm single right now. One of the reasons why
you single ladies. Wink, wink.
One of the reasons why I haven't really dated too much is because what tends to happen, especially as we get older, we run across a lot of women that's basically saying like, "Listen, I'm looking for a husband. If you're not looking for that, don't waste my time." And I've said this multiple times on the show. My agenda from the beginning is just, damn, can I find out if I like you or not? Like, fuck, just trying, like...
We were just talking about that.
Yeah, like, can I find out if I like you or not? I might not even want to be around you for an extended period of time. Let me figure that the fuck out first.
And what bothers me about that statement when I see it on dating apps is that you're bypassing a huge amount of time to get to know you. If I'm allowed a huge amount of time. Because a lot of women that I talk to on these dating apps feel like, well, I feel like after a few months, we should make a next date. How do you know after a few months I'm gonna want to marry you?
Now I'm gonna say this.
That's that's insane.
I'm gonna say this. Some
90-day fiance shit.
I understand where you're coming from. I will say this though. And I tell a lot of my women friends, my lady friends this. If you with a dude for 3-4 years and he still don't know if he want to marry you or not, chances are he ain't gonna marry you.
He's not gonna marry you.
Now, for him to try and figure that out in like 6 months, I can't necessarily say that I would personally go out and be like, yeah, 6 months I'm gonna marry somebody. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I can't picture myself doing that.
There's too many moving variables in that equation.
Yeah.
Have I seen you constantly for 3 months or 6 months? Have we gotten along for those 6 months? Do I know a sufficient amount about you and how you roll? Do you know a sufficient amount about me and how I roll? Do I like your family, who I'm going to be married into? Do you like my family? There's a lot of things that you cannot answer in that short amount of time. Do we live in the same city, the same state? Are you crazy?
Right.
It takes me long enough to pick a favorite pizza place when I fucking move to a new neighborhood.
So, and again, I think what it comes down to is that those women that want to be married, they feel as though that because they have a lot to offer, they bring a lot to the table, they should control and dictate that narrative. And when it comes to marriages, it's just, being chosen to be married. Unfortunately, ladies, it doesn't work that way. I'm going to repeat this a few times throughout this episode. Women are the gatekeeper of sex. Men are the gatekeeper of relationships and marriage. It's just that simple. And I think sometimes women like her, they get with these men and they know, they might know what they want or whatever, but at the end of the day, you can't, if you're pressuring him or forcing him to do that, your marriage may or may not make it because of the fact that you're not allowing that man to come to that conclusion that that's what he wants to do naturally. But, I ain't married, so
saying that your ultimate goal in a long-term relationship is fine. But a constant bombardment of that said goal, whether you agree with it or not, sets a tremendous amount of pressure with someone who just met you. He just met you.
Yeah,
he might have marriage on, most men do. He might have marriage on his mind, but he might feel as though, listen, I have things that I don't want. She has things she wants. She has to be a certain way, or I have to feel a certain way about her. And if we grow to love each other, then I'm going to marry her. But if I could be with somebody and kicking it for a while, and I'm not sure if I want to marry her, that uncertainty is okay. But when you plaster those billboards that must marry me, most men are like, yo, I'm good.
I'm good. Yeah, it's me. Because ladies, I'll be straight up with y'all. Marriage is the first thing for my brain. Does that mean that I'll never will get married? No, I'm not saying that. But I have to meet the right woman that will even get me in the headspace of even looking at her that way. That's my requirement. Get me in the headspace that the vibe is cool, the communication is great, the sex is great. Most of the basic things that I need is great to the point where I can even get in that mind space and like, you know what? I can see myself building something with her. But a lot of women feel as though that men, and I'm not saying they're wrong, but a lot of women feel as though men should have the automatic agenda of, I'm dating to find my wife. If you and not every man thinks like that.
Most men
think like that.
Most men that I talk to, either older than me or younger than me, both married and unmarried. Some of them happily married. are saying it's not for everybody because it's work.
Hell no.
It's not. And as a man who was married before, I'm telling you it's not for everybody because it's work. Because you're learning each other every day. The version of your girl is going to change when she becomes a wife. Either for the better or the worse, but you're going to change. It's going to happen. It's just the way it is. A lot of men feel as though, especially given statistics of how many people don't take the oath. I never hear about the oath of marriage. I hear about everyone, but you never talk about the oath. We talked about that earlier. Mm-hmm. The oath of marriage. You're swearing before, insert whoever you pray to, that you're going to stay with this person. But the modern day attitude towards marriage is that it's like a cell phone contract. If Cricket ain't popping, I can go to Verizon. If Verizon ain't popping, I can go to T-Mobile. Mm-hmm. And a lot of men who take it seriously, who had no intention of marrying and divorcing, are definitely afraid of this new attitude towards marriage, which is like, it's just like a cell phone company. I got a contract whenever I feel like it. That oath is not taken seriously nowadays by, 75% of people now?
No, 75. Listen, 50% of people, 75% of women. Because that's the stat right now. 75% of women are the ones filing for divorce. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna play the audio again. My biggest issue when it comes to the situation, and she's going to illustrate this a little bit, is one of the reasons why I hesitate to even think about marriage is because of the fact that most women in 2021 are what I like to say mentally selfish. It's more about them. It's not about what they can do for their man or what they're willing to do for their man. It's about what that man will do for them. And when you ask a lot of women, or when it comes to this stuff, well, what's your role? What are you willing to do? They really can't answer that question.
Or they get offended.
Yeah. Or how dare you ask that question? You know what I mean? So, and that's kind of my hesitation with this to begin with. And as you're going to hear, she kind of illustrates that point a little bit. So let me get back to the audio.
Am I not granting you monogamy?
You are granting it to me.
So this is my question.
Look at your boy.
Yeah, that wasn't us.
This is my question.
For once.
If you wanted monogamy,
okay,
why would you want monogamy if sex is a chore for you? That's the question. You're avoiding the question.
I'm not avoiding the question, but at first you said women, or in general me specifically, are pushing monogamy on somebody. Okay, yes, that's something that I wanted.
No,
but I didn't press you for it and be like, Deval, I'm going to hold a gun to your head to propose to me.
Time out.
Also, let me finish. Also, I don't feel like I was adequately prepared for marriage. And I've said that before, because if I knew that marriage and monogamy was...
So why were you pushing for something that you weren't prepared for?
Oh, she answers this. But this goes into the territory of how I feel as far as being mentally selfish. Because if you weren't mentally selfish, then you would sit down and think about, okay, can I fulfill my role as a wife for this man that I say and love and want to spend the rest of my life with? But being mentally selfish, what you think about as a woman is the benefits that you gain because of what society has told you that you get from being a wife and getting married. Mm-hmm. And she kind of addressed this, but again, it goes back to my point, which has always been my hesitation, especially now, is that I feel as though a lot of women are mentally selfish. They're more so in tune on what a man's supposed to do for them versus what they're supposed to do for their husband in their role as a husband. I've rarely met a woman that when you ask that question to them, either married or single, they genuinely can give you an answer that makes sense. Mm-hmm. It's very rare I have run across a woman when I ask that question that they give me an actual answer that'd be like, you know what, that makes sense. It's rare. I think I only know maybe a handful, if that. You know what I mean? So, continuing.
Going to involve me trying to meet you where you were at sexually for years to come, then I probably would have reevaluated it if I wanted to be monogamous anyway.
So that's fair, but we're not even talking about
It's
marriage.
not fair, but okay.
Let's even talk about dating, right?
Okay.
Because we're not allowed to think that.
Typically, in society, who asks for exclusivity first, a woman or a man?
I would say a woman.
Thank you. That was my whole point. See, you were going all over the place. If women typically ask for exclusivity first, then when they get exclusivity, say, he always on me, he always want to have sex. Why are we asking men for exclusivity if we do not want to participate?
Now I got to ask you a question, bro. in your marriage, was this something that you encountered?
Yeah.
Okay.
When we were dating, very early in dating, because we moved very fast. The request for exclusivity was with her.
All right.
I didn't mind because I was feeling it that much.
Right. Now, with that being said, with the exclusivity thing on the table, at the time, sex wasn't an issue, correct?
Not at all.
Right. Now,
well, you know, because you know me long. That first year of dating, everything was on tap. I mean, everything was love.
Right.
But after that, what he is saying, not necessarily why he always on me, was like, why do you want sex so much? Why do we have to do things so much? And we were newlyweds.
As if she just met you yesterday.
Bruh. So, which made me feel like, well...
Fuck? That's what she made you feel like, the fuck?
Exactly. Which, eventually, because I'm a person that self-evaluates first, like, what's going on with me to make her feel like that, you don't feel as attractive to her at that point.
Yep.
And that's how I felt. And no matter how much they tell you, that's not the point, that's not the point, that's not the point. Well, if not the point, then why, when we have the opportunity as newlyweds, I'm not going nowhere, you ain't going nowhere, it's the middle of the afternoon, I'm ready to get it popping, you got the opportunity, I got the opportunity, what's good? I'm good right now. You hear I'm good right now, I'm good right now, I'm good right now. What did Chris Rock say? And I think I left my wife. You stop looking because you feel like there's nothing over there for you.
Yeah. Now, before I continue, I want to ask you this question.
It's a horrible feeling, by the way, ladies and gentlemen.
Before I continue, I want to ask you this question real quick. Mm-hmm. Now, my question is, at the end of the day, once, when that issue came about, what was the reason she gave for the decline? And what was the reason the actual reason you determined was the cause of the decline as far as sexual activity goes? Because it's always what she say versus the actual reality of the situation. So that's why I'm curious to hear that.
The constant reason that I heard was that she was busy. But then when there were times when she wasn't busy, we still didn't do anything. And after a while, I stopped asking. You know what I mean? And then after a while, you started feeling like I said, like that it was me. So, I feel as though now, as you know, hindsight's 2020, that obviously it was somebody that was, you know, piquing her affection, her interest besides me.
Right.
Which ultimately led to the demise of our marriage.
Right.
Not to put all my business out there, but it is what it is. You think what I'm saying? Because I feel like you have something inside you telling you what it's hitting for, but you ignore it.
Yep.
And you ignore it, and then things don't come out until later. And most of the time when you're in that journey and in that role, you feel like an idiot because you're like, nah, because the person you love and you care about, that can't be it. It has to be something else. And you're asking questions. You're trying to be patient. You're trying to probe things. And don't get me wrong, if it was something that was health related or something like that,
right,
of course I will leave her alone to alleviate the situation, to support her, blah, blah. But if it ain't no issue with the health, it ain't no issue with the mental, and you say the affection is there, why is it not popping up in this bedroom?
Right. Now,
so you thought, like, I cannot reiterate enough, men do feel this way. Men do get to the point where they feel like they are not as attracted to you if you continuously turn them down for sex, if it becomes a chore, if it becomes something we have to schedule. I ain't a fucking field trip. You think what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially if, like, months before it was popping and now it's not.
Right. And I'm going to say this. To the audience, I never been married, but I lived with 2 women in my life. And I experienced this exact same thing with one of the women that I lived with, in that before we moved in together, everything was great. Everything was fine. And then once I moved in with her, slowly but surely, sex started declining, you know, and it was always for various reasons, you know. Oh, I'm tired. I got to deal with this, you know, I got to deal with that, and, you know, family stuff, and yada, yada, yada. And then it turned into, well, something's always wrong with me. And I will say, for a good chunk of that, she made me feel as though something was wrong with me. And what ended up happening at the end of the day, I ended up finding out that, long story short, you know, she was interested in other men. She was no longer attracted to me. I didn't do it. Whatever it was that I did for her before we moved in, that pretty much died. You know what I mean? It took me a while to figure that out, but that's what it was.
Right.
But, you know, it affected me in a way of made me feel like I wasn't adequate. I was inadequate. And it took for me to getting out of that situation and dealing with someone else to understand the nature of the beast that had to deal, you know, that caused that. So I get exactly what you're saying. I'm just curious as to, you know, I wasn't married and I experienced that. So
it's the worst.
Yeah.
It is the worst because it's a different dynamic from just dating someone or being with someone long term because I did not in any way, shape, or form want to no longer be married. Right. I did not see myself getting divorced. I figured like whatever we are going to go through, we're going to go through together, and that was not the case. Because at the end of the day, there were things I was not aware of. There were feelings that she had that I was not aware of, and she was sharing these feelings with other people besides myself,
and not giving you the opportunity,
to not only listen to the feelings that she has on her mind, but at least if I don't know about the expectations, I can't exceed the expectations. I can't. And there's nothing worse than hearing about something. I'm a hood dude from the block in the streets than hearing it from the source. Right. And my issue is that I tend to date women who are very strong, very intelligent, and that are leaders, that are handle their business. I'm attracted to intelligent women. That's just how I roll. So when I see you, you know what I mean, being in control of your business, of your employees, of your clients, and you do so with no fear, but you don't have at least the common decency to tell me to my face, listen, my feelings have changed, I'm interested in someone else. That is infuriating.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm seeing you knocking out the box and taking command of so many other things, but the one thing that you can say that would alleviate so much of the bullshit that happens when we have to find shit out in the streets, you won't give me at least the common courtesy to tell me to my face. And I'm the kind of dude that literally asks you to your face, is there something you want to tell me? I give you plenty of outs, bro. Right. I ain't that dude holding you by the neck in the club like it's me and nobody else. Listen, you are not my prisoner. You are my woman. You are my mate. If I am not making you happy, you have the right to roll out. Yes, it will hurt. I'm not gonna act like you won't, but I'd rather you roll out than act like we still cool when we ain't.
And we ain't, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to be dead in this motherfucking movie. The music didn't change. The dude with the chainsaw come up the steps and I don't even know.
Right.
You know what I mean? Tell your boy I'm dead. That's the part that a lot of people, both men and women.
Why you running?
We ain't the all police. No, both men and women do this shit. That's fucked up. It's not generally the infidelity. It's the fact that when it started, when you started having that spark, when you knew you wanted to roll with that other motherfucker, you didn't have the common decency to tell your partner, listen, my feelings have changed. Yeah. As Jay would say, finish your breakfast before you start a new meal.
That lack of communication.
Exactly.
It's lack of communication. So
that's my rant for the day.
In sex at the same level as men. We have to think about what that does to a man, and I don't think that's being that conversation is being had.
Okay, I agree, and that part I agree with. Yes, that women are typically the ones that will ask for the exclusivity. I get that. Yes, but what I'm saying is, me as a woman, I don't think that I was necessarily prepared or in the mindset to know that. It's almost like once you get into it, then you're like, oh shoot, like this is what I'm going to have to keep up with.
I get that.
Us speaking as 36-year-old people know that now. Had I known that at 26,
I get that.
I would have to contend with that. Even in the dating realm, then it might have been something I would have reevaluated.
So now let's go back to what you asked me. You said to me you never pressured me to get married. In 2007, we were living together, right? You said you no longer wanted to live with me and shack up with me because you wanted to be my wife, not my girlfriend.
Right, because I wanted to know where the relationship was going.
That don't sound like pressure to you?
It sounds like me voicing where I see my life going. It sounds like me saying, this is what I would like. You can decide to meet me there. If not, we can reevaluate what exactly we're doing.
Okay. Additionally,
would I call it pressure per se? Not necessarily pressure.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jay is giving me the come on, bro face.
It is pressure. But
come on, bro.
This is exactly why we cannot wait to do video, man. I swear I want to set up my phone just for the next show we do if we do one today. It's like, yo, y'all.
Come on, bro.
Some women, y'all are the masters of spin masters. I think every AR company should have at least 9 incredibly gifted women because the masters of spinning a conversation is a woman.
But
sis, come on now. You
Jay,
telling me we together? You tired of shacking up? That's just me voicing my opinion. If we didn't do it, reevaluate means I'm out.
Right. 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 At the end of the day.
Herb, if you don't finish these reports, maybe you need to reevaluate your position here. What does that mean, Herb? You out.
You about to get
that
loot.
cubicle gonna be empty and shiny. With that corny ass mug with the company logo on and that pen and that pad for the next joker that's gonna be in your spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Spin. Yo, I had to smile, man.
Here's the thing. I'm going to say something that's probably going to shock some people. I think men should start doing the same thing.
Absolutely.
I think men should start doing the same.
Absolutely.
And the reason why, and listen, I'm going to be honest. I am not going to act like and take the credit for that statement because one of the guys I listened to, Donovan Sharp, this was something that he pointed out in one of the videos I watched like early last year or something like that. When we make demands or say certain things that we will and won't accept as men, women will turn around and make it as if it's an ultimatum. It's real quick. They'll be like, "You giving me an ultimatum?" Like one of the examples he's used is the fact that he's the type of person, he doesn't like women that's really, really hardcore in the social media and the club scene. And so one of the things
I can sign that.
Yeah, and one of the things that Donovan has said is that when he deals with a woman, when they ask him for exclusivity, when they ask for him for, hey, I'm trying to just be in a relationship, be boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever term you want to use, he says to him, okay. He says to them, okay, fine. But here's the things that I require if you want that level of exclusivity. I do not date women that are heavy into social media or as heavy into the club scene. Or heavy in a ladies' night. And basically, from the stories he said, a lot of those women will be like, well, what do you mean? And why you say that? Well, you can't control me and tell me what to do, blah, blah. And Donovan would say...
Stop. He's not controlling you.
Right. It's exactly. Donovan would say...
He said he doesn't want to be with someone that's in that. He did not say, if you're with me, that has to stop. He said, if you want to be here... I can't be with someone that does these things.
Right.
That's what he said. But because you didn't like what you heard, you messing with my ladies' night, you messing with my club, you messing with my Insta, my TikTok, my Twitter, blah, 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 because every man does not want his entire relationship to be on display like these fucking Pop-Tarts that y'all worship on these reality bullshit-ass coon TV shows. Right. Every man ain't with that. Even some of the husbands that are married to these bubbleheads, or as Herb would call hood boogers, on these Black Ink and American households, don't even want to be on the show because everybody is not for their relationship to be fucking polarized on national TV. Right. That's why you didn't see Shaq on Basketball Wives. Shaq ain't with the shits. And he's not. He's a businessman more times over than your grandmom can flip a pancake. Right. I ain't never seen him on that show. But his wife was on there, but Shaq like, I'm good.
Right.
Keep me off that. If you want to do it as my wife, keep me off that. Mention my name to a minimum. That's why she was the nicest girl on the show, and that's why she got cut, because she wasn't dramatic enough. Right. Because you leeches that love the drama weren't filmed because she wasn't dramatic enough. I'm with him on that. And I don't even like the dude Herb's talking about. I don't like that motherfucker. Because, for the record, he does not like black women at all. Yeah. Having issues with the way women move is one thing. But having a hate and a strong disdain for sisters is another thing. I can't fuck with you, bro.
Yeah, we talked about him in one of the first episodes.
I can't mess with that.
But I will say that particular thing that he brought up, I'm 100% for.
I'm with him on that.
If that's your bag.
I signed that check.
Right, because the one thing he pointed out was, he said, I didn't tell you
what you couldn't do.
What you couldn't do. What I said is, if you want to deal with me on this level, then these are the things that I require for you to deal with me on this level. If you don't want to do them, then you can stay right where you at. He never said, I'm going to stop messing with you, like what a lot of women would say. If you don't stop doing this, I'm going to leave you alone. No, he didn't say that. His thing was, okay, right now, you're here. You want a certain level exclusively to be above here. Mm-hmm. And if you want to do that, these are the things that I require for you to be above here. You can either choose to do those things or not choose to do it. I'm not controlling you. I'm not giving you an ultimatum. I'm not telling you it's either that or nothing.
That's what she heard.
Right. That's what she heard, because she wanted to be more than what it was. And so that's why I feel as though though what she's doing is grade A spin move, and bullshit. But at the end of the day, I feel like women do it all the time. So I think men should be doing it as well, depending on the things that you require and what you need, to be happy in your relationship. If you're going to go on the monogamy train, make sure that, both terms of agreement are heard. And one of the things that men fail to do that women do regularly is being afraid to walk away. Women will replace you in a minute. I'm sorry, ladies, you don't like it. It's the truth. Because typically speaking, y'all have more options than the average guy does. It's just what it is. So a lot of women have the abundance mindset of, even if they love that dude, at the end of the day, if that person is not going to do the things that they want, then they're going to find somebody else to do it. Mm-hmm. And I think us as men, we got to have the same mindset in the sense like, okay, listen, I'll bang with you in this capacity, but if you want me to be more, to be exclusive, to be a potential husband, then yeah, these are the things that I need. These are the things that I require.
I think it's the right of both parties to have.
Absolutely.
Especially everybody is where they're at based on their past experience. Mm-hmm. And you now that you've been through it, you know what the start of a lot of drama is, and you want to avoid that. So with that being said, having a realistic list of things that you really will not tolerate, keyword realistic, is perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. So put those things out there. If you're not comfortable with your dude being around such and such, or hanging in certain spots such and such, or coming home, put that out there. Right. He's either going to roll with it or he's not. You're either going to go to the next level or you're not. That's a reasonable request.
Right. I want to let this play some more.
All right.
Being engaged.
You might have felt pressure.
What about being engaged?
There was no pressure behind it.
I said, we don't got to rush to get married. You said, I don't want to be engaged longer than a year. Is that not pressure?
Sound like it to me.
That's me voicing my opinion about it.
She left it fine.
With the Georgia spin move.
Mm-hmm. So you say you want to be engaged, I get engaged. You say you want to be married within a year. We do that. We get married, then you make it seem like sex is a chore to your husband. Once again, I ask the question, why do women who push forth monogamy on the man they're dating then get overwhelmed with that man who tries to provide that monogamy to you? Why do you get upset when we're trying to be what you want us to be? You don't want me to be with no one else, right? Right? I'm asking. This is a serious question.
Yes, absolutely.
You don't want me to be with no one else.
Absolutely.
So if I decide that all this testosterone I have, I want to give to you, why is this so overwhelming now? This is what you asked for.
Again, 26 and 27-year-old Kadeen was like, okay, here's the natural succession of life. You graduate, you're working, you meet somebody, you guys are dating. You want children.
Yes.
I want children.
Yes.
We don't want to wait too long or too late to have children.
Yes.
Though now a lot of people are waiting until their 30s to have children.
And I understand why.
And we at that time felt like, well, we're doing everything in this natural succession that the forces that be have given us this timeline. However,
society.
I did not realize that after having children, after, career changes, all of the turbulences that we've been through in life, that was going to have a direct effect on my sex drive.
Anything you want to say till I get part 2 of this clip, bro? Because you look disgusted.
I'm not disgusted. It's just, I don't know, man. I've heard it before.
Yeah.
And how can I put it? The validity of that, of everything she said, in my opinion, is a 50-50 chance of reality and a 50-50 chance of bullshit. Bullshit.
I mean,
because I feel like, and maybe I'm a freak of nature. If I'm going to marry you, if I'm going to rock with you in a relationship long term, excuse me, I'm looking at your body. I'm looking at how you make me feel when I'm with you. I'm looking at how we spend time together with and without our clothes on. Mm. Do we click on certain things? We like the same thing, like the same foods. Are our differences between each other even cool? You might be more rock, I may be more R&B, but I like the R&B you bring. You like the rock I bring. I put all that in the bag, and that is my attraction for you. Now, that's my personal life. all the shit I go through as a black man, as a business owner, as a truck driver, blah, 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 has nothing to do, call me a freak of nature, with my attraction level to my girl or my wife. Unless I'm severely fatigued or I'm about to get fired. That shit's not happening all the time. It's maybe happening, I'll give it 30 or 40 days out of a 365 day year. Other than that, I'm able to compartmentalize what I got going over here and give my girl whatever she needs emotionally and physically, yada, yada, yada. So when I hear that, well, all these things affected my attraction, my sex drive, part of me is like, but if I was Idris Elba, it'd be on and popping 24/7.
Right. I mean, I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to play the second
But each person's different. You know, I digress. Whatever.
I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to play the second clip. My feelings on that is, the reality is, over time, when you're with someone, people change, people grow. Okay? That is just the reality of the situation, you know. And, you know, once you become a parent, once you run in your household and whatever, yes, things change, things happen. My issue with what she said is more so the fact of, okay, when those things change and those things happen, how much work are you putting in to address those things to make sure that those changes do not affect your marriage? Because at the end of the day, and this is one of the reasons why I say most women are emotionally selfish, and that the changes that you go through is going to affect your partner, whether you want it to or not, or whether you realize it or not. And what I find is that what she's saying is that instead of, hey, once I realize these changes are happening, maybe I should have found ways to deal with these changes, what keeps coming out her mouth is, well, if I'd known these things back then versus what I know now, then I probably would have reevaluated getting married. You know what I mean? So then to me, that lets me know that you were only looking at marriage from a standpoint of how it's beneficial to you.
To piggyback off that, when I've had intimacy issues with both my marriage and my relationships, most of the time, most of the women, not saying necessarily puts the blame on me, but it was up to me to fix it.
Right.
If you're not always ready and aroused when you see me, that's your fault.
Yep.
If everything's not popping in our bedroom, that's your fault.
Yep.
Even when it was brought to their attention by a professional that it may not be on his fault.
It might be.
When we got home, it's still your fault. So I have to piggyback off that statement about a lot of women, not all
at all. No.
Chill, being emotionally selfish. And I've been through that many times. When you like, yo, I just feel like when it's time for us to be intimate, you someplace else. Well, that's your problem. How is it my problem that you someplace else? Why don't you sit me down, strong black woman who has no problem voicing your opinion? Yep. You know, queen of the universe, yada, yada, yada. Shout out to the queens. Why don't you voice your opinion and let me know how that's my fault?
Right.
I don't have to. It's your fault. You hear that one time, two times, three times. Figure it out.
That's what you got to figure it out.
I'm not going to figure out why you
should
are as attracted to me when you won't talk to me about why you're not attracted to me no more. Right. Huh?
You should know. You should know.
Wow.
Continue into part 2 of this clip.
Wow.
I did not realize that after having children, after, career changes, all of the turbulences that we've been through in life, that was going to have a direct effect on my sex drive. And,
that's fair.
And me not knowing that, if I knew it then, I probably would have rethought, what I was going to do when it came to marriage and monogamy.
And that is fair. And this is why I like to have this discussion, and I think we should have this discussion, because people look at us and say, oh, relationship goals, right? Marriage goals. They don't know who they are, but okay. what is being discussed behind closed doors, right? So, for example, one of the things that I have deduced through being married to you for a long period of time is this, and this is not about a woman thing, this is about me and you. I learned that you were never taught what it entails to be with someone in a monogamous relationship. The same way I was never taught that.
Right.
So what happened?
I pause this because I think this applies for a lot of women and a lot of men. I think I generally believe, and this is why we have this issue of emotional selfishness, because I think in this day and age, when you have a lot of people growing up in single parent homes, dysfunctional homes, things like that, especially in our community, this is a very prevalent problem. You know what I mean? So I think what he said, he's pertaining to his wife, but I think that pertains to a lot
Absolutely.
of people.
I have been in relationships where I've lived with women, and they have still been territorial about their stuff and their area of the room. I'm like, we live together. This is our living room. This is our bedroom. And that first part of being territorial spilled out in other areas of the relationship, because they had no concept of what it meant to live with a man long term. They had no concept of what it meant to be married and share not only your feelings but your things and your day.
Right.
And when I was trying to do that, it was difficult because they didn't have no skill set for that.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I am very, very against when people say you shouldn't live with somebody until you get married.
Shit.
I am firmly against that, because now, do I say you should be like getting apartments together and houses together and putting your names together before you get married? No, I ain't saying that. But at the very least, you should be able to learn how to spend an extended period of time with someone, with the person that you're with. There should be some trial runs and test runs and things like that before you do that, because you really don't know a person until you live with them. I'm a firm believer.
Right.
You don't.
You have to have the ability to sit with someone that you care about on the couch. She's laying on you. Y'all chilling. And y'all should be able to have a conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If that's a problem, because COVID is showing us a lot of y'all couples couldn't even do that shit.
Bruh, listen.
A lot of y'all couldn't do that shit.
Listen.
Being able to spend time with your mate
COVID is an assassin.
and not fill the air with useless small talk that is irrelevant. Just sit there and just be. Can she do her work while you do your work? Can she watch her shows, you know what I mean, while you're playing your video game? Can she paint, dig what I'm saying, while you're doing your draftsman work? Whatever the case may be, it's not even involving children. Can y'all chill in the same area,
right,
and not have it be all lovey-dovey, and just maintain y'all space in the same area and still be cool? A lot of people can't do that.
Yeah, COVID is showing that. COVID is an assassin, bro.
Is that we both have expectations of what we think it's going to be like.
Of course.
And then the minute it's not like that, we start to project our issues that we have with that on each other. So you get mad at me,
who else we gonna
and I
project
get
it
mad
on?
at you. So the problem is not so much the reality of what happens, is that we all have this ideal of what it's supposed to be like. And I'm going to give you an example. As a man, right, from 18 to 22, we had sex routinely, like all the time.
Yes.
That was it, right? Once we moved together and we were living together in our own house in Michigan, sex started to slow down. This was before kids.
Yep.
This was before
Yep.
marriage.
Yep.
This was before any stress.
Exactly what I just said.
This was just sex just started to slow down.
Right.
And
but also, too, 18 to 22 was like college. It was my first time out of my parents' house.
Right.
You know, we were living in this utopia that was college life. And also, too, what was the other thing that I was going to say? So distance. We had distance.
Yes, we had distance.
So there was time for us to like miss each other and be like,
absolutely.
I can't wait to see you again. And when we do
That's
see
what
each
I was
other,
getting to.
yeah, okay. Sorry.
So once we started to move in together,
Right.
and you see the same person every single night, the distance that we had when we were in college and I was traveling and we were doing different things, that distance allows time for you to kind of reboot your sex drive.
Yes.
For me, I don't necessarily have to reboot my sex drive. The minute I see you, I want to have sex. So when we were missing
Typically,
each
how
other,
most
it
men
seemed
are.
normal that we had sex all the time. But then when we think about it, we really wasn't having sex all the time because we didn't see each other all the time.
Right.
Then when we moved in together and we see each other every day, every time I want to have sex, I look to you. It became overwhelming. So, and the reason why I say that is because the conversation starts happening with, why do men fear marriage? Why do men fear marriage? And I'm going to explain this so that everybody can understand this. When you're a young man, and you talk to your friends who are married about getting married, the first thing they do is say, take your time. Right? They don't ever explain why, because men aren't vocal. We don't discuss these things. We're not emotional. All they'll say is, "Whew, take your time."
I don't think you need
got
to be
time for
emotional to
that.
explain
you
that,
sure you want
but,
to do
you
this?
know.
And they're like, "Yeah."
That's his own
Yeah, that's
insecurity.
right. I
gonna
don't think you need to be
change.
emotional
Right
to say that.
And then you like, what does that mean? Oh, don't worry about it. Shit gonna
You can
change.
explain that very logically.
So no one really tells you as a man neither
No one in your clique
what
tells
exactly is going to change.
I got no problem
and
telling you.
how it's going to change and why it's changing. But I've learned over years why it's changed and how it's changed. So as a man, you start to realize, like, you know what? We are not just wired differently mentally. Physically, we are wired differently. She can't take everything that you want to give her all the time. But since no one tells you that, you just expect that this woman who wants me to be loyal to her, monogamous to her, is going to want to have sex every time I want to have sex. And it's not until you move in with a woman and you live with her all the time do you realize that she can't do that. You see what I'm saying? So not only are women not being taught what it's like to be in a monogamous relationship, young men are not being taught what it's like to be in a monogamous relationship. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I understand completely because I experienced.
I sort of disagree with him on that. Only because, you know, in the situations that the women I live with, there wasn't an issue per se to date that she couldn't. Mm-hmm. It was more or less a thing of they chose not to. Mm-hmm. And in one of the two situations with the women that I live with, once we got to the root of the problem, it was fine. Mm-hmm. But once we got to the understanding of why these things were happening and those issues were addressed, and those issues had nothing to do with wanting to be with other men or not being attracted to me, but just more so internal issues. Once those issues were addressed, sex was never a problem. There were other things that were a problem, but that wasn't. In the other situation that I was in, that was a problem because at the end of the day, she just didn't want to be with me. It took a lot for that level of honesty to come out, and it comes to that realization that that's what it was. But it was a choice. Mm-hmm. It was a straight up choice. So I think it really depends on who you're dealing with and why those things have happened. Because I think some women can do that. There's
Absolutely.
nothing wrong with them.
Like you said, if the issues are addressed, the desire will stay there. I also have an issue with him saying that men don't talk about these things. No, brother, men in your circle don't talk about these things. Oh, we don't talk about because emotional.
Yeah.
Talking about situation does not make you emotional.
No.
When I ask my old heads about anything, nobody got emotional. They say, well, let me sit down and tell you. When you get a little older, you're going to have bills. You're going to have that. Whenever my old heads would school me on relationships, jobs, education, nobody got emotional. So for you thinking sharing your experiences is an emotional is something that you as a person need to address.
Yeah.
There is nothing wrong with conveying information between your brothers. Does not make you weak, which is what he's leaning into, or emotional. And emotions are a good thing.
And listen,
because when you bottle them up, you become a fucking serial killer.
Yeah. I mean,
or you become irrational. Emotional strength is not suppressing your emotions. We as men have to get out of that. Am I saying we all have a good cry on Fridays after the game? No. But I'm saying don't be afraid or ashamed to express how you feel and have emotion. If you don't, it will eat you alive.
I mean, we need it because
suppressing your emotions is a dangerous thing.
I'll never forget when you was going through the things that you were going through in your marriage. And, you know, you would call me and talk to me about what was going on. You know what I mean? If you didn't have that outlet, man.
I don't want to say.
I mean, like, it's just how it is. Like, you know, and it wasn't like I was coming to you and be like, fuck that bitch. No, man.
If anything, you were the one telling me, listen, I know what you want to do right now, but I feel like if you do that rash decision, you'll regret it.
Yeah, like.
So what you need to do is take a breath, evaluate what's going on, give it 100%. To save whatever you feel like you got saving. If it fails after that, then make a decision. And that's some of the best advice I ever got because at least I can say that I gave my best in that situation and it wasn't like I automatically tapped out when the dynamic changed.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
You know, sometimes I think that's one of the downfalls of us as men. Listen, I'll be the first to tell you, I think most men are emotionally weak these days. Mm-hmm. They don't know how to deal with their fucking emotions. Especially your young men today, you know, every little thing fucking breaks them down and makes them fucking fall into pieces. However, that's not to say that men shouldn't be emotional at all. Or you shouldn't, you know, have some conversations to get those things off and express how you feel when it comes to certain things. I will, you know, I'll be the first to say, like, no, you kind of need that outlet to do that. You know what I mean? You gotta come over here. You might want you definitely need that outlet because of the fact that, you know, suppressing those things, that's going to cause more complication. You know, it's going to make you do shit or look at things in a way that it's not going to be healthy or conducive to, you know, making your relationships last, making other things, you know, it's not how you're supposed to do. I think us as men, we do have need to have a certain level of stoicism and learn how to manage and deal with your emotions. But at the same time, you definitely need an outlet to have those conversations and to talk to somebody. You know, so when he said that, I was like, I mean, I will say, like, with my father really didn't teach me to be an emotional person. I would say maybe later on, in his later years, I think he kind of realized on some level how detrimental it could be. And I think I developed that mental relationship with him later on before he passed. But growing up as a kid, my dad wasn't like, yeah, let's have a talk. You know, I mean, he did that on occasion, but, you know, I think to some degree what he's saying is correct, but it shouldn't be acceptable. It shouldn't be okay.
No.
You know what I mean? I think that's my issue more than anything else with it. So, we're going to finish up.
It's the same thing, and that's why I'm grateful for platforms like this, or just our generation of people who are speaking up and speaking out and speaking to each other about these things, because then maybe people will make more educated decisions about whether or not they do want to be married, or they do want to be in a monogamous relationship, or, you know, what actually is involved in that. And the crazy thing about marriage is that, you know, one of the things you always hear is like, you know, you got to compromise. But like, what happens when one party feels like they're compromising more than the other, or one person feels like they're sacrificing more than the other? Then that becomes an issue, because a lot of times we try to meet each other halfway, but you still feel like you're ended up with the short end of the stick, and it just may be too.
Gee, I wonder why.
Literally have a bigger sex drive than me, and for me, it just takes way more to get me to a point sometimes where I'm even willing to do that. Like, back to your story, it was like, damn, I know I promised him. I promised him some ass tonight. And I was like, damn, I can't not do this, but I want to go to sleep. Like, I really just want to wash my face and go to sleep, but I don't.
Yeah, I figured that was going to happen. It's going to piss you off.
Yo.
Yeah, I figured that was going to annoy you.
Call me an alien, but yo, I would rather, and that says a lot about him too, I would rather have you call me on the way from work or when you at work, like, yo, I know how we supposed to get down tonight, but yo, I'm exhausted. I don't want no charity ass. That shit is so insulting, fam.
I knew that was going to piss you off.
That is so insulting to me, fam. Like, yo, I'm never going to be the type of dude that's going to sit there and pout because I didn't get no yams from my wife. Not tonight does not mean never.
Right.
She's saying never, we got a fucking problem.
Or she's saying tomorrow, or next week, and
that's a problem.
But
if it's like, yo, if she did 70 hours this week, and she had the kids and everything, the meetings and all that shit that she got going on, and I can visibly see she's broken, she's done. Yo, I'm good. I can wait. Yeah. Don't make it a habit now. But that charity booty shit.
Listen,
don't think, ladies.
I'd rather beat
one
out.
Don't be out here thinking that all men are cool with that shit. No.
I would rather beat one out.
I'll tell a chick from the door, yo, you not in the mood? I don't care if you came over and we a couple, you're supposed to be in the mood. Let me know.
Now, I'm going to play, once this is over, we're almost done with this. So I think the rest of it really ain't really relevant to the conversation, but I want to make sure. I'm going to play one other video from a woman that she recorded herself on Instagram. I don't know this woman's name. It just kind of popped up on my YouTube timeline. If I get more information by the time I edit and post this, I'll add it. But what she said is what she says in her clip is exactly how I feel. We'll get to that in a minute. I want to finish this out.
Disappoint him. So there I felt like, you know what? Let me try to do something to genuinely get myself in the mood, or with some assistance.
So this is what she did, y'all. This is what she did, the ponytail. This is what she felt like. Now here's another thing too. And let's be fair.
Paper on top of his head, some dumb shit in the video.
You are willing to.
We don't have sex every day. We don't have sex in college. We used to have sex 2 times a day. You know, we see each other. We was like rabbits, right? I compromised, and I even said to you, I'm not gonna push for when I want to have sex. I'm gonna allow you to get back in the mood, and then when you come to me to have sex, because I want the sex to be enjoyable.
Facts, but it'd be a problem when me having to reset my sex clock be longer than you expect it to be.
No, listen.
And then that'd be a problem.
What I have figured out for myself is that marriage to me, because there were points in our marriage and I was like, yo, this just seems selfish and I don't know if I could exist in this. And then you start to weigh what's important to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's important? Like I said before, you're my best friend and you're a business partner. You and I have not only developed a brand,
not a fan of
and
marrying your
developed
best
a
friend,
business
but that's
model
just
that
me.
works for you and
That's a
I,
whole nother
and
show.
works
Actually, it's
for
another show
building
we
a
want to
legacy
address.
for our kids.
It's not
But we've built
the
a
best friend
friendship
part
that I
that
think
you know.
would
I know,
outlast
but we're
any
going to address that.
bro,
I got a
because
whole nother video
when
for
we
that.
were
We're going to
broke,
address that.
especially after
Watch.
the NFL.
We'll address that.
You and I were still best friends, and we still found ways to enjoy life and enjoy each other during our harshest times. No money. We were struggling with our sex life. We had just had a child. We were
The rest of this shit
struggling.
is just, it ain't really relevant.
okay.
Yeah, it ain't really relevant. So, now, as I go get the other clip, is there anything else you want to address on that while I pull up the other clip?
No, I'm good, man. I'm watching this girl dodge bullets all day. I'm 26 and they have the right cocoa at Starbucks. Man, it's always these damn excuses like, yo, man, go ahead with that.
Right.
Like, you even noticed that when he talked about how it was in college, she was like, yeah. Why ain't it like that now? Which tells me what? Subconsciously, you don't see me the same.
I mean, I think, like I said, I think for me personally, I realized that as you get older and things happen, things change. But you got to have discussions and conversations to make those adjustments versus just like, I promised them some ass. I don't feel like it. So I got to do what I got to do to get myself in the mood. I promised some ass. No, how about we discuss, why don't you want no ass? You know, let's figure out how we can work around that together instead of you making promises and expectations that you can't keep and then turn around and feel obligated to do something that you don't want to do or is not going to be as enjoyable. I mean, sometimes it's about that, but it shouldn't be like that regularly. That's my issue. So I'm going to play this other one and I'm going to let this ride. And you're going to be really, you might have heard this before, Jay. I don't know, but we'll see. I'm just going to play this here.
And then when a bitch get in a relationship, you don't understand by asking
I
this man to not
boogery.
fuck
Oh,
nobody
yeah,
else.
I heard this
By
before.
asking this man to not call nobody else. By asking this man to not look at another woman for none of his wants and needs as far as male to female, you are then saying, I'm going to be whatever you need me to be, nigga, because I don't want, but y'all don't understand that. Y'all just think that's how it's supposed to be because that's what the media and the movies and your mammy and them taught you. Like, that's what y'all think. Y'all, like, truth be told, if up front, a bitch told you, these are all the things you're going to have to do, girl, in order to lock this nigga in like you want to, half of y'all wouldn't even want the nigga after that.
That's exactly what the other lady
But you never
said.
sit down and actually really demons do this nigga really got? What type of sex drive do he really got if he left every other bitch alone and only fucks with me? What type of things will he want out of me? Y'all be want a nigga that's rich and a freak and got a great personality, but is low key, don't talk to nobody, but is a people person, but is like y'all want all this shit. And girl, if you actually had to entertain that nigga nonstop by yourself, bitch, you be a circus monkey. The way you would have to suck dick on Tuesday, swing from the ceiling fan on Thursday, be a fucking stripper on Friday, because the nigga like pole dancing on the weekends. Like the way you'd have to cook on Sunday, turn around on Monday, and like y'all don't even know the half. And y'all be so quick to want a nigga to just lock in on you. Do you even have enough going on for you to be a person everything? Y'all be on some of these one-on-ones. Y'all don't even really be knowing these niggas to want to be locked in 100%. Then when y'all get in a relationship, you want to feel some type of way because the nigga is requiring odd things of you. Bitch, you should have that before you was running around here hollering, leave them other hoes alone. You supposed to be with me. Stop texting her. Stop. Y'all don't be knowing the half. When I say stuff like this, y'all get real offended. But this is nothing but cold, hard facts that your mammy didn't teach you.
Your mammy. I love that shit.
The shit is very deep.
Selling guy.
Oh, did it stop? Oh, that was all of it? Mm-hmm. Oh, goddamn. I got to get the rest of it. Y'all get the gist of what the hell she was saying, hopefully.
To back up what she was saying, it's like one of the hardest things to find for me personally is someone that actually gets me. Someone that understands that I don't mind giving you time, but at the same time, I'm going to need time. I'm a visual artist. I'm a creator. I'm going to need that time to just be me and rock out to myself and knock out these photos, these videos, or whatever I have going on. And an issue that I've had with women in the past is that they don't understand that, because they don't understand that artists need that time. So it's very important that you understand when you get in a dynamic with a man who he is and what he requires outside of sex. You know what I'm saying? Just understanding who he is very important.
Yeah, I'm going to close out on just commenting real quick on the things that she said. Again, as I said a few times in the show, I think most women are emotionally selfish. And what she said is exactly my point. In that most women do not understand the things that a man needs to be happy and monogamous and committed and consistent in a relationship. It's too much focus on what that man can do for them versus what she is willing to do for that man. And that's my number one issue when it comes to date, especially now, when it comes to dating and relationships. It's my biggest issue, because a lot of times, as this young lady said in her video, a lot of women don't get it. They don't understand that, okay, you want this man to be all about you, you have to give him a reason to be all about you. And, you know, you have to understand what that consists of for that particular man. You know, I find in dating recently, a lot of women just don't take the time to understand who they're dealing with as a person, because they're so focused on what that person is doing for them. Mm-hmm. You know, and I don't even tolerate that anymore. I just don't, because it's just, for me, I'm not going to put myself emotionally in jeopardy because this person just doesn't give a shit about what I need to be happy.
If it's one side in the beginning, it's going to be one side throughout the entire relationship.
Right.
Believe me, I know.
Right. And I think us as men, we got to start demanding that. We got to start letting women know from the gate, if you want me to be committed to you, or you want us to build in towards marriage, these are the things that I'm going to require. And you don't back down from that shit. You don't back off of it because you want to get the ass, or you just like her that much and you're afraid she's going to leave.
Let her leave.
You can't have that. You can't have that attitude. You can't have that mindset.
Let her leave.
Because you'll end up in a situation or a marriage to where, you know, these things were acceptable, and now 7-8 years in, now you about to be that statistic where she's going to be like, you're going to hear those magic words, I'm not happy. You know, so that's just my thoughts on that. Jay, anything you want to reiterate before we get off this, John?
No, I agree with the brother that a lot of times what women demand is, as far as monogamy and exclusivity, they don't think it through. Basically, I like to simplify things. Whatever you did to get us here, keep doing that to keep us here. Yeah. And that goes for the men too. We ain't talking about y'all right now. We're talking about the women. Whatever you did to get me here, sexually, emotionally, whatever, keep that up to keep me here. It's very simple.
Yeah. I mean, and if things are changing with you, then voice that. Sit down and talk about it. Figure out a strategy as a couple to make adjustments. You know what I mean? That's the only way you won't really get through it. But, you know, it is what it is. So, on that note, I'm done. Jay, you done?
I'm done, sir.
All right. We out. On to the next show. Again, Happy New Year's to everybody. Happy holidays, everybody. I hope 2021.
Don't speak of the devil's name anymore.
Yeah,
don't do
I'm not doing that. Yeah, my bad. I hope 2021 will be a much more safe and productive year for everyone. So we out. On to the next show.